Talking to Mr. Edwin Sanders, who is the gubernatorial candidate for the state of Tennessee. And of course, Mr. Sanders, before we had our first commercial break, you were talking about some of the things that help to influence your political aspirations. Let's be more specific and give you an opportunity over the next, this segment, the next 8 minutes we have here, to talk about your platform. That is to let the people of Tennessee know exactly where you stand on the issues that you believe to be important. And that way it'll give us an opportunity to sort of move into that third segment and talk about some other things.
Very good. The theme for this candidacy is renewing the spirit of Tennessee. We chose renewing the spirit of Tennessee because we realized that the principles upon which, the ideals upon which this state are founded are really principles and ideals that are still solid. There's a way in which you could look at our history and realize that in many instances we have not lived up to the magnitude of those ideals. But I think that one of the things that we see as a mission in this campaign is to get people to revisit what the potentials and the possibilities are there, and then understand how we, through providing leadership in state government, will allow us to be able to achieve what I think ends up being a very noble mission for this state. And that mission is really grounded in empowerment of the people of the state, being truly a government that is of the people and for the people. One of the things that we see right now that's very problematic is that the business of politics has taken precedence over the issues and the concerns of the people of this state. So we're trying to refocus the energy, the resource of this state in a way that allows there to be a responsiveness to the needs of the people. Now, we started this campaign in developing our platform by listening. I have spent many hours listening. There are hundreds and thousands of people that I have been listening to for some time now in this state, hearing their concerns, hearing the things that end up being of paramount significance for them in terms of what state government ought to be doing. And what that has translated into for me is an appreciation for the kinds of issues that need to be central to this platform. It's clear that people are concerned about family. It's clear that people are concerned about education. It's clear that people are concerned about their communities and the way in which there's a safe environment that allows them to be able to nurture, to care for, and to grow in relationship to each other. So we've developed our platform around what we have heard from people. So it's not as though we somehow came up and dreamed up, but it's the byproduct of sitting and listening and being attentive to what folks have said to us. Now, I think, as I was saying a few minutes ago, clearly at the top of that list ends up being education. It's very unfortunate that we in the state of Tennessee right now end up ranking so low amongst all the states in this country in terms of the investment that we make and the quality that we deliver with regard to education. I think that has a lot to do with leadership. It has a lot to do with how our priorities have been set. It has a lot to do with how our resources have been used. And one of the things that we feel is of most paramount significance is that we reconsider how indeed we go about the business of setting priorities. Most of the problems we have in this state, as I was saying a few minutes ago, can be solved and resolved if we had an electorate, if we had citizens of this state who really were equipped intellectually to be able to meet the challenges of our time. We can bring industry to the state, but if we do not have an educated electorate, then an educated citizenship, then we don't have what we need in order to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. So I think that what we're saying is that we have to make a more significant commitment. We have to set as our highest priority that we deal with education. I think that means that we learn to value our teachers, that we learn to put them in a position within our communities where they are revered, where they are respected, and where we find ourselves bringing all of our resource to bear in terms of how we can be encouraging and supporting of the work that they do. After all, we invest our greatest, we allow them to have in their tutelage the greatest resource that we have in our community, and that's our young. They end up being a part of shaping minds. And I know that if we're going to deal with many of the complex issues that are before us, we've got to invest in education. it's also very clear to me that we have to be concerned about quality health care. Quality health care is of profound significance because indeed people who are healthy, people who are free of disease, or people who are free of sickness end up being a people who end up being more likely to have the kinds of creative energies flowing within them that allow them to put us where we need to be once again in terms of being competitive with our surrounding states and with the states who we find ourselves having to be in competition with in the Southeast especially, but throughout the nation.
Let me interrupt here.
Sure.
Dealing with with health here, because I think that there's something that you've been very, very concerned about dealing with education, and that has been not only the health, but this whole issue of AIDS and how that impacts, and you've gone all across, literally all across the world, in a real sense, trying to deliver this message. Let's speak to those issues of health.
Well, I think that's very significant. The work that we've done in HIV/AIDS is very significant to the way in which we see the importance of addressing health care in the state. Because what you find is that where you end up having a greater vulnerability to diseases like AIDS, and you look at the national community, we also have ranked very high in the incidence of syphilis in relationship to cities across this country. Those are health indicators, and what that says is that somehow we are not being effective in the way in which we are providing a safety net, the way in which we are providing an environment in which people live healthy lives. Now, one of the things that I'm convinced we have to do, because I believe, by the way, in TennCare, that's a part of our platform, is that we want to preserve TennCare, but we want to get TennCare focused to where it is addressing the issues of health in a way that will give us long-term health. We have too much of an emphasis on the way in which we are managing care over against the ways in which we are delivering care and providing care. I know that the issues of managed care and what that has come to mean as a central part of the way in which the TennCare system works is important. But you see, you have to put people first. The issue has to be care. And then I'm convinced that when we have the care, then we'll be able to provide the kind of solutions that will allow us to be have a more easily managed system. But even in terms of management, let me be very clear about this. One of the things we have to do with TennCare is to begin to focus more of our resource on prevention and education. Right now, it's primarily in terms of treatment. It's in response to disease. It ends up being driven by sickness. We need to make a greater investment in wellness. We need to make a better investment in making sure that we have citizens in this state who have a mindset, who have a kind of attitude in relationship to their personal health and well-being that allow us to be able to create a healthier state and a healthier environment.
Very good. Let me take this second commercial break here, Mr. Sanders, and we'll come back and we'll give you an opportunity to continue this information in reference to your platform. Of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.